Hi there, it's Lisa Belleci St. Romain here on our 8th Sunday in Ordinary Time, and our first reading is from the book of Sirach. So this book was written about 150 years before Jesus came to be incarnate in physical form in this world, and it was originally written in Greek, and so it's part of the, quote, Catholic Bibles or the Deuterocanonical. It is wisdom. It's part of the wisdom literature. So it's not a story. There are no there's not a story to tell, okay? So when we read this, there are actually four separate sentences, and I would like you to just read each sentence. Each couplet is a sentence, and I would like you to read each sentence and then pause and then stop, because they aren't really connected except that they're about speech, but they're not really connected, and they each have their own image, and so let them have that image by pausing after each one. Okay, so a reading from the book of Sirach. And then you pause 1, 2, 3 seconds, not because I say so, but because our GIRM, General Instruction of the Roman Missal, says to do that. Pause 3 seconds after the title. Pause 3 seconds when you finish the reading before you say the word of the Lord. Okay? Why do we do that? So that people can orient and that they can put it in bookends, all right? So a reading from the book of Sirach. When a sieve is shaken, now sieve, we don't use that word very often, so I'm pausing after that word. When a sieve is shaken, the husks appear. Our Lector workbook has an interesting little story about this. The sieve is shaken from the grains, with the grains in it that were ground as the oxen moved around the grinding stone, right? And of course, oxen are animals and they're making their droppings. And so the husks that appear when the sieve is shaken, the finer grains fall through, and the husks would be these droppings from the animals. So really impure, right? And that's what our second line points to. So do one's faults when one speaks. And then we're pausing. Not 3 seconds, but just at least 1, okay? And then come back up. As the test of what the potter molds is in the furnace. So there are 3 parts to that phrase. So in tribulation is the test of the just. So we're going to pause again. So if you've done any pottery, 6 weeks, that's it. I realized it wasn't for me. Things will just collapse or break if there's too much water, not enough water, not balanced. Yeah, not so good. It's hard to make it happen just right. So in tribulation, when we are put in the fire, there's our test. Are we going to break? Are we going to collapse? Are we going to run to something besides our God? Okay, so it's the test of the just, and then we pause again. And I would pause by coming back to the book, okay? And then we're ready for the next one. The fruit of a tree shows the care it has had. So there's 2 parts to that one, and I'm going to say the first part, looking at people, the fruit of a tree, come back to the book, shows the care it has had. So do you see how I want to collect part of the phrase and then speak it with eye contact, because these are just short, pithy sayings. Okay, and this also reminds me so much of how many times the fruit of the Spirit, the fruit of the trees, the fruit is referred to in the New Testament. So too does one's speech disclose the bent of one's mind. So I went very slowly on that one, because what we're trying to get people to hear is that when somebody speaks, it tells you what's happening inside their head, right? And this is the point of the final line: praise no one before he speaks, for it is then that people are tested. So when you give an opportunity to speak, that itself is a test. What will you say, right? I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then the word of the Lord. So let's have me not interrupt myself and just read it straight through. A reading from the book of Sirach. When a sieve is shaken, the husks appear. So do one's faults when one speaks. As the test of what a potter molds is in the furnace, so in tribulation is the test of the just. The fruit of a tree shows the care it has had. So too does one's speech disclose the bent of one's mind. Praise no one before he speaks, for it is then that people are tested. The word of the Lord. Okay, practice reading aloud 5 times. 5 times read it aloud so that you get the cadence and your pacing. God bless.